Now, this is the Scrum framework. This is how Scrum work. The word framework, you say how they frame them as it go work. Framework. Okay, so framework is here, which is Scrum. Now, if you look at this side that I'm putting my cursor, you can see product backlog here. Product backlog with product goals, and then you can see here that there is what's called product backlog refinement. To do something very, very quickly. Now, you see all of this, the way it moves, you see that there is a sprint planning here, there is a sprint goal here, and there is a sprint backlog here. Now, and then you have daily Scrum, then you get to the increment. Then you review the sprint, and then the team does a retrospective, and then they come back here, they go again and go again. There is who is called the project owner, who owns the project. It can be the owner of the company or the clients that we are serving, right? That's the real owner, right? But in your team, you have someone that would always represent the customer. And that person that represents the customer is called PO, product owner, right? So that product owner will go and meet the owner of the project, which is your client, right? Product in terms of any kind of product. Yes, sure. Any kind of product, but I'm using Amazon.com as an example, or e-commerce website. So this person is our product owner. So I'm going to choose Katie as our product owner, and I'm going to choose Anthony as the project owner right now to just form my example. So Katie, you will meet with Anthony, and then you ask Anthony, what are your goals? So Anthony is going to explain to you what he wants to do. What did I want to do? I want to build something like Amazon, right? And Agile is so flexible that it allows the person that is telling you about the project not to even know anything about it. Just tell you, oh, you see what I want to build. You see that Amazon as they work. You see as that thing they work. I love it. As it works, that is exactly what I want, right? Okay, so what you now do is either you get a BA, if you have a BA, that will gather all the requirement for you, right? Or you do it yourself, or you call your Scrum Master. You guys do it yourself. So you have to look at it, sometimes you might not even have all the team ready. So that's where you now begin to build your team, right? As the PO, which is the product owner. So you build a team, you get a BA, collect requirements and all of that. So the requirement, but these are the first few things that maybe Anthony told you. I would need that we have a landing page that they can order, our product, right? And then it has a payment API, right? Whereby they can make payment online, and then it has a delivery system. You see, those things I've said now, they're about four objectives, right? The first thing is the landing page. The second thing is the ordering process. The third thing is the payment API. And then the last thing is the delivery process, right? So those are the four things. Now, those are four different goals. Each of those four things have other metrics, right, that will make it achievable, right, if we further break them down. So it makes each of them like an epic, more like you have an epic, what they call an epic. Those are the goals. So what we call epics are what can still be further broken down into more user stories, right? Maybe you've heard of user stories before. It's just to break down what your user wants. It's the same, it's nothing big, it's just a story, right? They are looking for words that will not be complex for a layman. And that's why they say, oh, it's just a story of the user, right? So the user is telling you a story and you are putting it together as the goal. And use it as I continue to explain these things. Now, by the time you get to this place where you have the sprint planning, you would work with all your team members. Now, all your team members, so now you know already that probably you need a BA, the business analyst, then you need an SM, which is a Scrum Master, right? And then you'll need a dev team, right, that will develop the e-commerce store. So at this point, everybody sits together to plan. Now, this planning is time box for 4 to 8 hours, right? By the time you finish planning, now let's say we are finished planning, and what we concluded after we broke down all our tasks, right? What we concluded was that based on our velocity and our capacity as a team, we found out that we can do 2 of those things in a sprint cycle, right? And what are the 2 of those things that are first things? Landing page and then the ordering process, right? So landing page and the ordering process, and then we'll take the other 2 in the next sprint. So what we do is that we move those 2 goals, we move it to what we call sprint backlog, right? We move it to what we call sprint backlog. So from this sprint backlog, then we assign tasks. So this place is where the Scrum Master start to work, right? It's a Scrum Master that would relate with the dev team and then begin to discuss with them, okay, so what can we do? How can we, do you understand me? What do you think you can? Because it's a self-organizing team. You will see all of that as we go on. So you could see that, okay, so everybody relates. So the Scrum Master is more like a facilitator. You are not telling them what to do. You are only trying to help them to achieve it with this framework, what they can do. So everyone picks what they can do based on the planning, and then you as a Scrum Master, you assign those tasks to them. So for every daily Scrum, you are going to ask them 3 major questions every day for 15 minutes, right? So during the sprint, so the dev on the sprint is what, please? The dev is the developers, the software coders, those who will put it together, maybe the CMS guy or the UI UX guys, So depending on what you want to achieve, how flexible it is, because the team itself will tell you that based on these, because the truth is, if you are going to do like an Amazon, that's why you will need a BA that has technical abilities that can help you collect the right requirements so that you would know the kind of development team that you need, right? Because that BA will look at Amazon closely and tell you the kind of technology behind it, right? So that would also inform a lot of things. Now, it might just be WordPress, for example. That might not really need too much people, right? It might be a Shopify store, but with the complexity of Amazon, then you might need some developers and some coders, right? Because it's not just a Shopify. Right, so let me not go into all of that. So the dev team is those who would work on the project that the Scrum Master will manage. Right, so the Scrum Master is asking them on a daily basis. So if you guys decide that the Scrum is going to last, or the sprint is going to last for 2 weeks, so within that 2 weeks, every day you're asking them question, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? And do you have any impediments or challenges that I can help you solve? So that's what the Scrum Master is doing, right? So they will tell you if they have any challenges. If they do, then you have to resolve it for them. Now, and the challenge is not necessarily, you don't have to code. Maybe someone say, I cannot code this thing. Now, that's not what they say you should come and do. So if the person say, I can't code, you ask proper question. Okay, so what are the challenges? Is it the time? Why can't you? Because that's what they employ the person for, right? So if you say I can't code, then what are your challenges? Is it a mental issue? Can I, I don't know, but the challenges can be that, oh, my ID is bad, my integrated development environment, I can't use it very well, and all of that. So you get it to the appropriate channel. Maybe you need to call an IT guy, systems guy to look at it, it can be a licensing issue. So you want to quickly jump on that and help them to remove such impediments. So you as a Scrum Master, you have your Jira board and you have your impediment logs. You log all of those things and you make sure that you clear those logs, because if you don't, it would affect the team's velocity. With that being said, now there is also what we call the acceptance criteria. While you are doing your planning, you are putting some acceptance criteria to say that for this increment to be called done, this is what we would accept. And that will also ensure quality from the get-go. So the acceptance criteria will be in your project vision statement. So in your project vision statement that you will discuss with the team as the PO and then the Scrum Master, you have already put all the things that will be the acceptance criteria together. So the real time that you are really, really working is the time of planning and the time of, putting your sprint backlog and your sprint goals together. Another time that you really, really work is during your sprint review and also your sprint retrospective. And I'm not saying you are not going to work all through the, back and forth, the daily stand-up, but it's possible because most times as Scrum Masters, we are lounging those periods because most of these guys are self-organizing. They know their ID, they can configure a lot of things themselves because they are IT guys. So with that being said, you are just trying to see if you can, help them solve any problem. And that's why you are employed, and that's what you do in that team. So by the time you get to this point that I call the definition of done, right? An increment is done, an increment is produced, right? So when you produce that increment, then you bring in your PO, which is your product owner, to review it. That's what we call the sprint review. So at this point, we review, and then after the review, if it is good to go, they will ask you to deploy it because that's your MVP. You can deploy that because that's what you are prioritizing when you are doing your sprint planning, value-based prioritization. You prioritize it based on value, can deliver value as at every time you deploy. So at this sprint review, you deploy, and then when you deploy as a team, based on the feedback you got from the product owner and the stakeholders that you have meeting with at this sprint review point, then you guys go back and retrospect. You sit down together, you look at what you didn't do well, what you did well, what you should continue to do as a team. And then you move from retrospective to the sprint planning. And then you go on like that. Now, there are lots of benefits to this because it helps any organization to isolate risk, because you can isolate your risks, even the project in bits. So it makes it very, very effective, and highly productive. They give us something and they say, oh, use it and enjoy it. And that's what a lot of companies have adopted that now. Canva, they will give you stuff, use it for free. And then when you are hooked and they will say, oh, you can't go further, you need to go further. So that's value. But when you see value, then you can say, okay, I want to go further. So that's how it works. And that's how sprint also works. So you release value, right, first, because with that, it helps the ROI of the company, right? The return on investment, they can see value. So by the time as even a Scrum Master or a product owner, you are a change agent, right? Because you are bringing value to the organization and you are telling them that you help them to deliver value, right? So these are the things that you want to say even when you are doing your interviews and all of those kind of things. You must see yourself that way. And because you are building something that will continue to develop, because you are the one who have that concept. But the thing is, when you are doing value-based prioritization, you need your team. You can't do it alone because you need their expertise. You need their judgments, because some of them, there are so many things technically that you as a Scrum Master or a product owner does not know. And one of the soft skills of a product owner is that you really want to be open to learning. That's part of your soft skill, and also understand how the process work or the things that they want to do, so that you can also support them.